Hello, welcome to the start of my new series. In my first series, I reasoned what attributes would be required for a supernatural being to create the universe. These attributes will be the bedrock for everything I discuss on my channel. If you haven't seen these yet, I would suggest starting there first. Going forward, I want to begin examining the evidence. In my last episode, I reasoned written accounts would be the only way for the Creator to reveal these 5 attributes. And this also would be the way the Creator would reveal any message or other attributes He wished to convey to us. In this episode, I want to speculate further about how the Creator would reveal Himself. The previous episode was about where to look for the evidence, and this episode will cover what evidence we'd expect to find. In any scientific field, we speculate on what results would allow us to come to a definitive conclusion. However, our final assessment may not be what we initially expected. At these times, we may decide more evidence is needed. And on occasion, the results can show we were wrong in our initial conjecture. If we are going to examine written religious works, what would be the best way to see the evidence in these accounts? In other words, what amount of evidence would be definitive? Also, how can we disprove the so-called God of a book of faith, in spite of whatever claims there might be? Remember, one of the attributes is there can only be one Creator. Therefore, we should expect to rule out most, if not all, religious texts after our examinations. By analyzing the written accounts in this way, we will have a falsifiable investigation. For each religious text, I'll come to one of 3 conclusions. 1. The being described is not the creator of the universe. This false God would be missing at least one of these 5 attributes. The God named in this text may exist, but this account will be considered false. For example, the Creator must have power over the laws of nature. Does the God in the religious writings ever gain some new power or ability? If so, then there was a time this false God lacked this newfound power. A second possible outcome is the evidence is inconclusive. In this case, the text doesn't provide enough evidence to support these attributes. This can be the case with books of songs or praises. The deity may be the creator or may not be the creator. Either way, more evidence would be needed. The last possible conclusion would be confirmation. In this case, we would find the Creator. He would be described in a set of religious texts where all these attributes are shown. All other written works would be excluded from the body of evidence. At most, they may inform us about the history and culture of ancient people, but they can't tell us anything about the Creator. They would only give us the writer's opinions about their God. Let me take a moment and speculate on what I feel would be the best evidence we can obtain. The Creator may not necessarily follow this pattern, but for me, I feel this would be the most conclusive way for Him to prove these attributes. I've added a graphic to help you follow along with me. First, the Creator would reveal Himself to a selected group of individuals. This group of people would be responsible for recording and writing down their encounters with the Creator. Second, the Creator would also demonstrate His supernatural power over the laws of nature to these people. Third, the Creator would also give prophecy. This prophecy should be more than a story of future events. Instead, the Creator would promise some future display of His supernatural power. In this way, the prophecy would be beyond humans ever predicting or making come true based on their own natural ability. Fourth, through the guidance of the Creator, these people would record these events, as well as the message and prophecy the Creator gives. In the Christian world, we call such a person an inspired writer. However, there doesn't need to be anything special about these people per se. They could come from anywhere. They could be rich or poor, a king or a commoner, or be a great nation or a group of slaves. The only thing they would need is the ability to write. After this reveal is recorded, people will need to copy and pass on the message to the future. In this case, several generations of people will be needed. It may be possible for the inspired writers to carve their accounts into stone. But see my last video to know why this would be unlikely. Multiple people would be charged with copying and preserving the written accounts for later generations. And fifth, after a predetermined amount of time, the prophecies will be fulfilled. The length of this time passage should last for several generations. This is necessary for the people and culture to change, and yet show the Creator has an unchanging nature and purpose. When this time comes, the Creator will select other individuals to record the next events. The Creator would demonstrate His supernatural power once again, and provide more prophecy as an additional part of His original message. This cycle would be repeated throughout time, maybe for all time, at least until the Creator's message is complete. Again, this pattern is only meant to guide us to the evidence which would be the most definitive. This method would be the most conclusive way for the Creator to reveal His divine attributes. Over time, human philosophies, views, cultures, and values change. Through this method, a false god has every opportunity to change, along with the human beings who worship him. Only the true Creator of the universe would exist beyond our human notions. In the next episode, I'll examine the Book of Genesis. The beginning seems to be a good place to start. Feel free to leave comments, and thank you for watching. Goodbye for now.